All right, welcome back to the bus. Today is an actual update, like bus stuff update, unlike my last video, which was really cathartic and actually felt really good to get out there. And I've gotten a ton of messages back of like how meaningful that was for people. And so I actually feel pretty good about kind of venting and putting it out there. Because I think some people need to know where our mindsets are. And I think I've been really surprised in how many people kind of connect with that, and so how many people are out there that are like thinking like me. But let's talk about bus stuff. So floor is done. That was physically and emotionally draining. And what we've got for the floor, so this is 3/4 inch pine or ply, or I'm not good at wood stuff. Underneath there are 1x3 furring, or not furring, furring strips. And so there's a 1x3 on each side, and then there's 1x3s that run this way, and then there's cross hatching. There's some pictures out there. In between those squares is 3/4 inch rigid foam, and then on top of that is this really nice sanded surface wood. The wood top, the 3/4 inch, turned out to be a lot more expensive. It was 25 pieces, or just over $25 per board. It's one side is sanded, and it's, I think I said this already, but it's 3 times what I was expecting to spend. And there's 8 panels on the floor, so that was a good chunk of money. But it was really, really worth it because now I have a really nice solid foundation. Plus, everything's going to be framed up from the floor. There's not a lot of places to attach it to the walls, so that floor needed to be really, really stable. And then I'm taking this pneumatic staple gun with 1.5 inch staples, and that's going connecting the top piece to all the furring pieces. So that'll give me a nice solid floor to work off of. So that's done. It took me like twice as long as I wanted it to, but oh my god, by myself, those boards are freaking heavy. And then to top it off, the boards are 48 inches by 96 inches. Originally I was gonna run them kind of like, piecemeal, but what I ended up doing is cutting them all to 90 inches by the 48, so that I'd get this nice like surface. You can see the seams. There's only one seam, boop, and then one seam, boop, right there, and so it goes all the way flush to the edges. But there is about 1/4 inch of space on each side to allow for expansion and movement and stuff like that. Oh, and also underneath that, I went ahead and put down red rosin paper to kind of help. It helps with squeaks as well, because the foam against the metal apparently can squeak, and it'll also be kind of a little bit of a moisture barrier, even though I really don't need it at this point. The floor is really nice and solid, because all the holes have been filled and all that good stuff. Remember, underneath this is rusty metal primer and paint to give it a nice kind of undersurface. So it's a really solid build from the bottom up. So that's the floor. The next thing that I'm working on is framing. I was kind of playing with framing. You can see here around the wheel wells. These aren't actually screwed in yet. I was just kind of playing with options. I have a lot of sometimes I have trouble like visualizing things in a physical space versus like a 2-dimensional drawn space, and so it helps me to kind of get an idea by doing a couple practice pieces. And the first part that we're actually going to be framing, or that I'm actually going to be framing, is going to be the bed area, because I am putting in my queen bed, which I love, and I haven't slept in a year because I've been sleeping in a futon. And so I'm really excited to get that in, but the reason it's so important to frame that in is because underneath that is actually where the water tanks are going to be stored. So that's going to be the next big project, and Carrie is coming up this weekend to help out again, and so I think I'm going to have her help me do the framing. But one of the prep pieces for the framing is, so here's kind of example. There'll be a 2x4 runs along the floor, and the problem we had, let me see if I can get you so you can see this, is you've got this this rail, which is structurally important, and behind that obviously is the pocket where there's some insulation back there, and then that continues up. So what I did is I measured out what I needed, and then I've got my 2x4s. So so you can focus on that. Cut and then notched so that these will actually fit right over that really well. And then another piece will go across the top, and that this isn't part of the window right here, but this is. And to get the windows out, you take out the screws, and then the window actually tips out. So I want to make sure to leave that open so I can tip out the windows that I need to when I start replacing windows. So, oops, sorry. So that's the next big thing. And what I'm kind of working on now is fixing the furring strips. It's the first thing that I did. I didn't really plan it out very well. And so I'm going to redo a bunch of the furring strips. And the reason that is because I've come up with a really cool idea for what I want to do for my ceiling and for the side walls. And I want to have a nice kind of solid, consistent foundation to put that ceiling up on. And the way that's going to work, let me find a semi-lighted spot because the sun is not very friendly or helpful today. All right, so from here to here, across the whole bus, there'll be a strip. It's about 12 inches. And then there'll be like a little V piece that comes out like this, up to here. And inside that V piece will be the channel where I'm going to run wiring, and I'm also going to run LED lighting that'll like reflect up out of that V onto the ceiling surface. And then across the ceiling, I'm going to have 4x8 sheets that are painted. And those painted pieces are going to look like an antique constellation map or star map, where I'm going to do like push, I'm going to mold some like brass and silver and copper push pin type things, which will represent the stars, and then I'll have it painted. It's going to look really cool, I think. In my head, it looks awesome. But I have to have a really regular surface to install that on so it's nice and even. Also so that I can paint them before I put them up and have confidence when I put them up that everything's going to line up. So what I'm working on kind of the next couple days until Carrie gets here is I'm putting up this 1x4 insulation, which is going to go over the whole surface. And then on top of that is going to be my membrane material, which is the kind of vapor barrier stuff. And then once that's done, I'll be able to actually set it up to put up the ceiling pieces once they're painted. So that gives me a nice solid surface to work off of, a nice foundation. So that's kind of what's going on. There's lots of little things, like I went ahead and I finished up the door lock back here. You can see there's metal strips still hanging right there for my awesome door lock, which works really, really well. And I've got like metal wire ties holding on the lock piece for now, and I'll be actually welding that in place to finish it up. I fixed the front door lock so that it actually locks, so I've got a little bit of security. It doesn't lock as, it's not like full-on security. I'm gonna have to do something with the door yet, but I've been still kind of, I don't know, pondering what to do. The biggest problem with the door is that on the bottom you can see light, and actually if I take you outside, so this material is like really, really rusted and gross, and so I'm gonna have to figure out how to either remake the door. And on this side you can actually see that the pin is like broken out, so it's really not super secure. So I'm gonna have to do something with the door, but I haven't figured out what yet. And the biggest thing is I want to keep kind of this schooly door look. I don't want to replace it with an actual door, but I want to make it more secure. So still kind of pondering what to do there. And then beyond that, framing out the driver's seat area. So because my flooring goes up right to the edge. And what I want to do, sorry that's blurry, I don't know what's going on here. Stop being blurry. Okay. So that's all going to be wood, a lot like the regular floor over here. So it'll have 1x4s framed. And then over here where the driver's seat goes, there's going to be 1x4s that will be what the chair screws into. So the chair, when it actually goes back into place, will screw into the 3/4 wood, into framing 1x4s, and those 1x4s are either going to be screwed down or glued, so I'll have a nice solid surface. And once I have that figured out, then I can clean out the heater, put the heater back, and then start building a console. But that's probably, I don't know, a week or so away, something like that. So right now I've just been spending a lot of days kind of putzing, doing little stuff, and doing a lot of planning and thinking. I've gone through like 2 notebooks because I want to make sure that I'm doing things well, and unlike the furring strips, I don't have to do them over again, because I don't have a lot of energy sometimes, and it sucks to have to do it twice. But the fact is, I don't know what I'm doing most of the time, and reading and internet and plotting all help, but sometimes you don't really learn the lesson until you actually do it. So that's kind of the update on the physical stuff of the bus. I hope you're having a good day, and I'll catch you later.